Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. Hi, Instagram. Hello, our friends over on our free class. How's everyone doing today? Hi, Alicia. Is she muted?
I'm here. Hi.
She is. I want to make sure everyone can hear everyone. Thanks for joining us. It is officially fall weather in Florida, and that is something to be said. We turn the fireplace on. We now know it's a new season when you turn the fireplace on in Florida.
Oh my goodness.
So
It snowed here the other day, so
no, I can handle that. That's
3 inches. No fireplace went on here.
You guys just handle the cold way better than we do, but
I'm always bundled. I wake up and my hands and toes are freezing.
I remember that as a kid, and I don't want it back. I like my heat. So, but I do enjoy having the fireplace on, and I just enjoy that feeling that, honestly, I haven't gotten this feeling in a long time, but I know some people can relate to this. It's the holidays. Like, it's just like the tides have flipped, like weather changes, new stuff on the shelves at the Target, whatever it may be. Like, it's officially holiday season.
When the Mariah Carey and NSYNC songs go on, then it's time to put up Christmas decorations.
Everyone who's listening in, I want to hear from you. What is it that tells you in the world, okay, it's officially holiday season? What's that one thing? I saw a meme today on Facebook. Somebody wrote, "Don't get mad at me because I'm already talking about Christmas stuff. It's been a hard year and I want to start early."
I said, throw up those Christmas decorations and spread yourself with all the glittery stuff and love, for sure.
Spread the joy as much as we can, as long as we can. So for once, I'm not complaining about the early holiday planning, for sure. And speaking of planning, I thought this would be a fun way to start today. We do have a word. Those of you who've been sharing and listening in on Instagram, you know that we share this word in advance on social media every week for Wednesday Wisdom. This week's word is, as usual, very spontaneous, but always fits perfectly. It is reflection or reflecting. And Alicia and I were just reflecting on, obviously we're always reflecting on our work and business and working together, but some exciting new information. We are planning my wedding, and Alicia is coming to photograph it. So
oh yeah,
I'm super excited about that. So just spent the last hour kind of chatting with her about different ideas for the photos. And one of the shots I was telling her that I really want to get is long story short, we're now having a backyard wedding. No need to explain why. Everyone knows why things have changed this year. But it's going to be a beautiful, amazing ceremony, very simple and sweet with the family. And we have a pool in our backyard. So one of the shots I was thinking that she could try and get is a reflection shot of us with the pool in the foreground. And there's all kinds of tricks, and I kind of want to get into these tricks and how to use reflections with our photographers here. But before we do, I want to really emphasize something, because it is the holiday season, and that is the living wonderful side of this word. We all know how important it is to reflect on life, especially the hard year that the whole world has had, but also just in general at this time of year. I feel like you kind of get to this point where you're like, all right, we have to start planning or figuring out and getting ready for these big events or moments during the holidays. And we don't always take time to just reflect on how our year has been. It kind of hits us, right? Like, I feel like the new year is like right there, and we're not even gonna have time to enjoy the holidays because I'm already like, crap, the new year's around the corner. So what are you doing? Maybe Alicia can chime in a little bit. Like, what are you guys doing right now to reflect on life? Because now's the time to do it before it gets super busy and crazy during the holidays. What are some things that you're doing to kind of reflect on how the year has been? Alicia, can you think of it?
I'm sure everybody probably feels like this or can relate to it. This year just blinked like you blink and it's
It's gone.
gone. I don't know how that happened or why, but
I have goosebumps.
I know it's kind of, scary in a way. So reflect on that too. I've been reflecting on that is like time, reflection of time too is like, oh my God, we don't get it back. But at the same time, you really have to live presently and gratefully. And, I've been waking up trying to, live with purpose every day and reflect on the good things I have and how far I've come and
Yeah.
try not to think too much in the future as well,
That's a good point, is like reflecting. It's a balance, because we always talk about being present, and that is in the present moment is where we're actually going to find that new idea and that creativity and that magic. But to create presence and be truly aware and present in your moment, you have to be at peace with what has happened in the past and be okay with not knowing about the future. So take time to reflect. It gives us a chance to be better in the moment and be more purposeful in the moment. And you're right. I mean, time is, that's a whole conversation in itself, is the time. I wrote a post years ago called "Time Does Not Exist." And, in scientific historical terms, we can literally pinpoint the day that Greenwich Mean Time became a thing in the world. And I actually happen to know this weird fact, but it was when the English railroad system really took off, and they needed, like, prior to that, there was no real need to calculate exact times of things. But then when the train system created a schedule through these cities, they needed exact times, and people started working around this train schedule.
Interesting.
The idea of like time and how we schedule our lives is very, very new to human evolution. Like, it's not, yes, we watch the stars and the moon and the sun rising, but this idea of connecting to specific times is so hard to grasp. And I think it's why it freaks us out at how quick.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot of people anxiety too. It gives me anxiety. I'd love to just throw time away, or even this, what's it called? The when you roll back the time and
daylight
savings. Oh my God, why do we have that? It makes us even more anxious.
I know. I woke up at 4:30 the other morning, and I'm like, what in the hell's wrong with my brain right now?
I know, I think it was Halloween. I was like, it's 2 a.m. twice? Wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
moon too. I was out of my mind.
How amazing was that? I know a few people who are listening in right now love to shoot the moon. I wonder if anyone captured the moon. I did not get a chance to shoot it, but it was a blue moon. And it was called something else. It was another kind of moon too. I forget, but it wasn't blood moon, but it was another concept. And it was about it being the second moon of the month. And because it was the smallest moon of the full moons of the year. Plus it was on Halloween. So there was like all these weird things that aligned with the timing of the universe. And that was crazy.
I would have, but it was like 20 degrees outside. So cold.
We don't need to. No losing fingers.
No, I'm good.
But just taking time to reflect on these things, and one of the little habits that I have for myself is like, when I have like a list, like I have this crazy list, okay? I have like lists everywhere. Lists, this is my life, people, lists. When I feel like I'm going, the thing that I love to do is I feel this passion and this energy and this drive to go do things, but I know I don't want to speed up too fast. I don't want to spread myself too thin. So in the mornings on those days where I know I have a big list of things in front of me, I will lay in that bed for a little bit longer and just peacefully, like whether it's a meditation or just breathing or just listening for the furthest sound. I can hear the birds sometimes out my window. But I force myself to be awake and just lay there in the bed for a second. And that's a great time to process how your body feels, reflect on how was yesterday, how am I going to feel today. I remember a couple weeks ago you said Mel Robbins says we can ask the question, who do we want to be, not what do we want to do, right? But so taking time to reflect, I think, is honestly the only way I'm able to move through all the craziness of life. If I
noise, all the, yeah.
It doesn't work for me. So, and even with our shooting and the way we run business, and those of you who run your own small businesses, that there's not necessarily a boss telling you how to handle things. It's up to you to kind of process and reflect on how things are going in your business and decide how you want to move forward. And
it's a very difficult reflection process too. It's an everyday thing. I struggle with it. And you have to set the tone at the beginning of the day when you wake up. Don't look at your phone. I've been reading books in the morning, self-motivation, things once a day. Actually, I have a really cool book that I could share. Let me grab it real quick. Hold on.
Yeah. Books are great. When I think about reflecting on life, a lot of times we tend to only want to reflect when we're having bad moments or hard challenges in our life. And so we're trying to process and create solutions with them, right? But why not just reflect when we're doing good or we feel this momentum and we actually are motivated to go learn and grow? So books are a great chance to reflect when you're in the good space in your life too, not just when you're looking for help.
So it's called Unshakable by Chris.
Oh, I love it. Look how pretty it is too.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, it's a kind of a religious book, but it's a daily, I love what it says every day. Like today was November 4th, you know what I mean? So
is there any passage that kind of stands out to you or that's helped you reflect a little bit that you could share?
Yeah, probably. Let's see. It's funny. Good choice.
And when you have a book like that, the beauty of it is physically having something to help you reflect is huge. Like, I have a really hard time just putting stuff in my phone as a reminder or putting it on my calendar on my computer because I don't have this physical knowing about something coming up or something I've learned. Having a book or a journal is a great way to like put your own 2 cents into how you're reflecting and processing what you're going through.
Well, I will find one before the end of our little session here.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and segue into our photography. I want to start by saying this. Those of you who have been listening in for the last couple months, that here at Live Wonderful, it's all about storytelling. I posted a couple weeks ago. I have always had a hard time with labeling myself as a photographer. And so when I show you these tips and these photos about reflection, I emphasize the importance of reflection really does come back to the story that you're telling. And quite often it has this symbolism that helps you tell a more emotional, in-depth story because you're focusing on the reflection of something, not necessarily the object itself. So I'm going to bring up a couple pictures and then I don't want to forget, I'm just going to pin this for Alicia to remind me. I want to also make sure that we touch on the reflection of light itself. So we all know, whether you're a photographer or storyteller or not, we all know that reflections come from windows and shiny surfaces and waters and puddles and things like that. But other things reflect through light, okay? And photography is all about light. That's all the camera ever sees. So when you start to analyze light and see how it's bouncing and reflecting, we can use that for symbolism in our stories too. So I'm going to share my screen with you. If you are watching on Instagram, you're going to miss these pictures, but we will always post our live chats on our YouTube channel at the end. So you can go see them there. And guys, if you can see my screen, Alicia, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So do you see my, Hold on, let me do this. You see my Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I'm on the wrong account, but that's okay. So those of you who don't know, we are storytellers here. We do more than visual stories. I'm helping brand a whole website and a social media campaign for a nonprofit company right now. So that's what I'm logged in under here. But here's a couple shots to kind of just show you over on the Live Wonderful Instagram page. You'll see some that I've shared. Let's see if I can zoom in on this one. So this is Bordeaux, France, and I'm going to share more and more of my travel photos, especially through the month of December, because I miss traveling so much. In Bordeaux, it's I'm sure they have beautiful weather sometimes, but the whole week we were there, it was just gloomy and dark and rainy. And you all know, if you love travel photography, it doesn't make for the best travel photos. Makes for great portraits, but not that bold architectural look that you're going for when you're in a city shooting landscapes and stuff. So I was shooting in this city for a few hours before I found anything of real interest. And this was a strange little misting. This is a concrete walkway that is a highway where the cars go across, but then it becomes a sidewalk and a crosswalk for a long period of time. And it's misted. So you walk through this mist, and it was kind of cool. And once I got to the other side, you know what I'm talking about. If you've shot something and you get that urge to just pick up your camera, that moment happened for me as soon as I saw that reflection.
Yeah, it was beautiful with the reflection and the fog just like right at the ground. It's hovering. It's beautiful.
So this shot, guys, do you notice how the reflection of the actual tower is about the same size as the tower itself? It's not bigger or smaller.
Mm-hmm.
That has a lot to do with the angle that you're at capturing this. So I took a lot of these pictures, and I'll show you, like if I'm straight on, one shot's here, but one shot is from up here and I'm tilted down. And then here's where the real reflections come in. The lower that you go and tilt up, that's what's going to make the reflection itself get a little bit bigger. So imagine if I was laying flat on the ground and close to this reflection, like literally close to the puddle, the reflection would be huge compared to the tiny building that's 100 yards away. So what you see in the symmetry of this shot is me finding that perfect balance of getting that horizon line right in the middle and finding the angle where the tower looked the same size. So I'm getting that smack dab in the middle. So a lot of times when I'm shooting these and I see a reflection, I'm lower than I originally was when I first saw it. I tend to get much, much lower on the shot. Here's another one. I'll zoom out on this one. This is in Bilbao. This is actually a cool museum called the Guggenheim in Bilbao, Spain. And I don't mean to sound judgmental, but the city itself is boring as hell. There's like, nobody goes to Bilbao until the Guggenheim showed up 10 years ago. And now the city has this incredible architecture. And even the bridge here is a part of the Guggenheim Museum. That building is a part of it. And I'll post another picture, but the actual museum isn't even in this shot. It's to the right. It's also a beautiful, just incredible looking building. The structure of the building's amazing. But because this city was not that exciting to shoot, I went looking for reflections. I was walking up to this little pool area, this fountain area, from really far away. And the whole time I'm watching the museum get closer and closer to me, and I'm looking at this skyline, I'm like, I don't really see anything exciting. But I knew I'm about to get up to where there's a water area, and I bet I can find a cool shot through reflections. So if you guys keep this idea of reflections in the back of your mind as a prompt, you'll end up getting shots you might not have even seen to begin with, because you're actually out there looking for water or windows or light and how it bounces off things, and that brings the reflection into your story.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's any more up. Yeah. Oh, this is the other one I was going to bring up. Those of you who have shot with us at Lake Eola, you know it's one of the most beautiful things is to shoot on that lake and get the reflection of the city and the fountain. So these tend to be, so when you're using long exposures with reflections, imagine because you're reflecting water, if that water's moving, you're going to get that soft look in the reflection. If you use a faster shutter, it's going to get sharper and it's going to look more like this, where it's almost exactly like the object itself. So play with your depth of field and your shutter speed once you have that reflection in your shot, and let that help emphasize your storytelling. Because like I said, you know, your reflection might actually be the subject. You know, in this case, obviously, there's a symmetrical feel here, and they balance each other out, the bridge and the reflection of it. But you can do the opposite. You can get super close to the reflection and blur out the building in the background and use that symbolism of showing the mirror of something instead of showing the actual object to tell your story. So it becomes a very creative technique that you could just keep in your creative toolbox and pull out anytime you're near a window. One of my favorite times of day to shoot is after it rains, because everything's wet and it is reflective. So, and you get just cool light. So Alicia, I wanted to ask you a little bit, because I know that you are, I'm not putting myself down when I say this, but you are much more, what's the word, versed in the world of lights and using off-camera lights. So I wanted you to share a little bit about how you use light and how it reflects off of things. I know we were just talking about that shot at the mountain too.
Bring a newborn shoot up that I just did that might help, you know, with the.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I share here. Ooh, nope, don't share here. One second, guys. And oh, can you see me?
Yes, but
okay, perfect. Okay, so let's see right here. Nope, that's not it.
I need to end sharing.
Okay.
That's what you're going to share your screen now? Sorry, I had to end my sharing.
It's okay.
Sorry, guys. We're getting there.
Okay, now I have to find where I was going. Okay, perfect. Can you see? Everybody see?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just a basic newborn shoot. And with light, as Danielle's saying, I end up bringing a softbox with an external flash, and I'll flash it off of the ceilings in most of these indoor shoots to create kind of an umbrella effect of light spilling onto the subject. This, in fact, was the baby. But I do it also for other shots as well. It's a very simple technique. Blast it at the ceiling. It can't be a dark ceiling. It has to be a light ceiling in order to reflect back.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to add to that for a minute. Guys, the reason you can't flash light at a dark ceiling is because the darker the color, the more it absorbs the light.
Right.
And the lighter the color, the more it reflects the light. So that even pertains to the color of the light. If you have an orange ceiling, it's going to reflect orange light. So definitely need those lighter colors when you want to bounce your light source and give it that reflective, soft, wrapping light around your subject.
There was a couple in here that her eyes were so big and you could actually see the reflection of myself in them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I always notice that I have very sharp images for, the baby's eyes if you can actually see my reflection in them hovering over them, which is kind of cool. The other thing that I do with some of these shoots is if they have a mirror in the room, which this one had a mirror and it was very significant. It came out of her grandmother's house. She told me about it. So I wanted to use that as a reflection. And hold on, I'm going to get to it. This kid was cute. Let's see. I used it like this. So use mirrors as a reflection to kind of give your photograph some different feels.
Yeah. So you guys see where she is, right? Because you don't want to show up in the mirror when you're photographing a mirror as the photographer. She's right over the father's shoulder, and she's used a shallow depth of field, blurred him out in the foreground. So this is like blurring out in the background. Now you're blurring in the foreground. And the focal point is off to that top right in the subject of him in the mirror. So I love that. And that, like, guys, again, you can't go wrong with this because you are talking about reflecting. And here we are in this perfect moment in this family's life when they're reflecting on this newborn baby. So it's such a great way to bring mirrors and things like that into your shot. I love that with the grandma.
Yeah, she wanted to use this and somehow get her hands on there, and it was a little difficult to do, but especially the reflection of, you know, the light on it. So there was just keep kind of doing angles if you're shooting glass too, and you'll get a good shot, you know.
Yeah, I have the same issue with glasses. We just did a bunch of staff members for a school, and for whatever reason, like most of these staff members wore glasses. And so I didn't want the angle of my shot to be different. I wanted that to be the same for everyone. So I would have the person with the glasses just kind of angle her face a little more, and you'll see this point where the glare just disappears and you don't get that reflection.
You actually see it in her glasses here too.
Yeah.
Stuff you can kind of take care of a little bit in post-edit work, but if you can avoid it, try and see it through your lens happening or look at the photo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glasses are tough.
Glasses are difficult to work around.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, I did a salon recently, but I'm trying to find a good one. See how there's mirrors on like every side? Actually, I'll bring a bigger one. So I was flashing light too. So the light was kind of, I had to be careful of mirrors. So always think of mirrors in your background and how it reflects the light. And if you're in the mirrors, if you're, you know, it's hot. It's not the easiest to always be aware of that, but the more you practice it, the better off you are. And some of these are great because there was chandeliers and I was catching the chandeliers. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good shot here.
The light, even just the light from the chandelier adds a sparkle to the shot.
See the reflection of her and the chandeliers and stuff in the background there. So I was trying to work with those to create that dimension there and depth of field.
Yeah, that creative reflections is it is a challenge, especially mirrors, but it's such an easy thing to prompt you to find something creative and different to focus on shooting. It will help you kind of get out of that standard way of capturing someone for sure.
Yeah.
And I can't overemphasize, guys, I love that you brought up the light and flashing off the ceiling. Light photography is all about light. That's all the camera sees. So if you are adding light, like an off-camera flash, and you want it to be dispersed, you have to know that it's going to reflect whatever you're bouncing it off of. So and you don't have to bring it back up, but I don't want to forget that reflection, like you said, how you show up in their eyes. If you're not bouncing, if you're using a softbox or you're using natural light, look for the reflection and catch light in people's eyes when you're shooting subjects, or you may be shooting products for your company. The material of the focal point, if it's reflective, like our glossy eyes or like a water bottle for a shoot. I know we've shown some of your shots for that fitness company with the water bottle. If there's a reflective surface, there's a chance that you can use that to better emphasize your story. So you could have very well shot that salon without ever looking at the mirrors, but you knew they were there, you used them, incorporated them, and now because of reflection, they're way more interesting stories that you're sharing.
Absolutely. I find mirrors and anything kind of shiny to add dimension. So
yeah, and even
use it.
You know, the ceiling may be flat, but it's white and that bounces light. The mirror is not flat. That mirror is going to blast the same amount of light that you shot into it back at you because it's a mirror. A ceiling is only going to bounce a little bit back. It's flat surface. But yeah, if you've got any sort of shiny objects like a shiny frame, or if you're wearing shiny jewelry, all of that is reflective. So you have to consider how it's going to interact with your light and then use it. Have
If
fun with it.
anybody's shooting weddings or like think of like ring shots too, I always try and find a reflective surface as well to put them on. Those little details that reflect the surface, whether it's a really nice shiny table or a mirror you can put it on. Sometimes I even bring my own mirrors to certain things to do those.
Idea.
So yeah, there's so many, play around and with those reflective surfaces as well, or on the wall mirrors, or there's so many ways to reflect
on how to use reflection.
Yeah.
I wanna kind of prompt you guys and give you a little challenge that we just sent out our email this month. I haven't really shared my newsletters, but if you're interested in getting our monthly newsletters, they'll start again in January. You can go to Live Wonderful and subscribe. But I had so many great responses from that last email where I asked people to share their challenges. So I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to give you 2 prompts right now. 1, share your biggest challenge with us. Answer this question for us. If you're listening to this on Facebook or Instagram or watching it on YouTube, put it in the comments. If you want to email us at hello@livewonderful.com. But I want you guys to answer one question. What is your biggest challenge as it relates to photography right now? Is it that you don't feel creative? Is it that you need more, you want to learn more and you don't know how? Is it that you don't want to shoot and you just want someone to capture you beautifully and you're not sure how to feel and look your best? In the world of photography and storytelling, what is your biggest challenge right now? What are you not able to do because storytelling isn't there for you? Maybe it's in your business. Maybe it's in your personal life. I don't care. I want to know about it. Because the second thing I want to say is if it's about learning photography, I want reflections to be your first piece of assignment that I hand out that inspires you to get back into this and go looking for fun things to shoot. Go out and find something reflective and focus on that, not the object it is reflecting. Whether it's a mirror or a ring or a wine glass, that's what I'm about to go get. I don't care, but go shoot reflections. Do it with your cell phone. I take so many beautiful pictures at Lake Eola with my cell phone, and I love it. There's also a really beautiful post. I'm going to share it with you and end here, guys. If you head over to livewonderful.com/blog, I am making a promise to myself and all of you in reflecting this year that I'm going to be sharing more of my old stories, my travel stories, and I'm going to publish them on the blog. On our old website, they used to be published a year ago when we transformed the site. I have not made time to republish them. However, there are 2 up there right now, so I'm going to share this latest one with you. Because it's about how a couple years ago I had my first moment of realizing reflection is super important in our lives. So it's a great story about finding love and support through reflecting on our lives. You can go check it out on the website and look for more of those because I have rewritten a bunch of them recently and I'm excited to share them again. So after the wedding.
No, I love that. I love your stories, and I'd love to add to some of these stories too. I can start writing.
Yes, you have some great stories to share. Mine, the ones I'll be sharing will have a lot to do with, the beginnings of Live Wonderful and where this whole concept come from. But a lot of them too are just fun, crazy travel experiences that captured those magical moments. Alicia knows we did our trips together.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are going to be able to find this and all of our past videos over on the YouTube channel. We've got 4 more of these. 3 more of these? 4 more? How many weeks are left in November?
Maybe 3.
One of the announcements I made in the last newsletter is I will be taking off the month of December. So if you are looking for classes or photo shoots, get them in there now. We are booking up November and already into January because I'm getting married, guys.
Yeah.
So December is going to be personal time, and we will continue to share on social media, but we won't be doing these lives for the month of December. So go check out our YouTube page, and you can catch up on those. And let us know how you're enjoying these. Any feedback we can get on Instagram, on Facebook.
Remember, if you see beauty anywhere, it's a reflection kind of yourself. So the more you kind of reflect and go into that,
I love that. Absolutely. Look for the beauty. That means it's you reflecting out in the world. Mm-hmm. So go out, enjoy, guys. Have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week. Mm-hmm. And go reflect. Go get some shots of reflections. Go reflect on life and have fun. Go live wonderful. We'll see you next week. Okay, guys?
Bye, everybody.